Today, we're going to go through a list of all the cars, not necessarily the trucks or SUVs, but all the cars, coupes, convertibles that still have the row your own 6 or 5 speed manual transmissions from the new car lots. Let's get into it. Before we get into the alphabetical list of each car that has a manual transmission, I want to give you an idea. If I go to cars.com and I look in my area within 150 miles, 707 out of 66,000, well, plus all the other CVT and other things included, equals about 0.0085 of every new car as a manual, which is less than 1%. Then looking across the entire United States, out of the nearly 1.227 million cars out there, less than 10,000 are manual. And so there's actually a lower percentage of manual transmission cars. Where's this at? Right here. Lower percentage. So it's a little less than 0.8%, where here in Florida, it's closer to 0.9% of manual transmission cars. Obviously, being in a nice warm climate is going to increase the take rate of manual transmission cars with convertibles, coupes, that sort of thing. So it doesn't really surprise me we have more manuals here, but I just want to run the math for you guys. Absolutely insane how hard it is to get your hands on a brand new manual transmission car. And without further ado, we're starting with Acura. Acura for a while didn't have too many manual transmission cars. I guess we had the ILX, right? And then the Integra replaced it. And now we have 2 manual transmissions in the Integra, the amazing 2-liter turbo Type S, the full fat like Type R variant of the Civic, right? So it's just amazing vehicle. Make sure to watch my driving impressions and me flogging it in the mountain roads in California. And then also the amazing 6-speed with the rev matching downshifts that is derived from the Honda Civic Si with the A-Spec Advance, okay? The A-Spec technology, I should say. A-Spec technology with the 200 horsepower. But we have so many on the list, and I can't believe what I'm saying. We have a lot on the list, so we have to keep moving. Here we have the BMW M2. Now, I'm just getting BMWs now on the channel, so hopefully I get a BMW M2 with the manual transmission in the near future. Of course, this has the inline 6, the beautiful B58 engine. It is tuned to 453 horsepower. That's more horsepower than what we see in the Supra, which we'll talk about the Supra, of course, on this list. And continuing with the tradition, the M3 has a 6-speed manual. This thing is an absolute, it's going to definitely get your attention when you see it on the road. I hated this grille at first. Maybe it's growing on me. I'm not quite sure with the beaver teeth, whatever you want to call it. I think it's growing on me. The M3 and the M4 still come with the manual transmission. And check this out, 503 horsepower from, I think it's called the S58 in this tune, the inline 6. Hopefully the Supra gets this sort of powertrain increase in power output. But honestly, the M3 looks a lot better than the M4. I think the proportions are just a little bit better. Man, it doesn't look good from this angle. But anyways, we're going to keep moving. A Cadillac CT4 V Series Blackwing. I have not driven this yet. I've heard amazing things about it. Twin turbo V6, 6-speed manual. This thing is gorgeous. And I don't know if I've actually seen any on the streets, because where I live, I see these on the streets. This is the more expensive CT5 Series Blackwing right here. I reviewed this and it blew me away. It was one of the best cars, most fun cars I've ever driven in my life. 6-speed manual. My friend Miles at miles per hour, he has the CT5 V Series Blackwing. It's a mouthful, but it is a perfect vehicle, in my opinion, for everyday usage, as long as you can cough up $100K to get your hands on one. There are markups on it as well. The Chevy Camaro still can come with a manual transmission, and I believe it can come in pretty much all of its powertrains. V6s, V8s. I think there may be even a turbo 4-cylinder on the Camaro. I'm definitely not a Camaro whiz by any means, but I love that you can still get the manual throughout the lineup, whether it's a coupe or convertible for the Chevy Camaro. And yes, you can get it with that 6.2-liter supercharged like we just talked about, and the CT5 Blackwing. So yes, just insane vehicle. I've also driven this recently, the Challenger. I drove it with the 6.4-liter Hemi with the 6-speed manual. Now, the Challenger is kind of in this gray area. Supposedly it's discontinued, right? But yeah, a lot of manual transmissions on this to be sapped up. Now, I was surprised that it wasn't as fast as I thought it was going to be in the manual transmission. I thought it was a good manual transmission. It felt very beefy. And I think you can get the 6.2 liter supercharged Hellcat engine with the manual too, around 700 horsepower. So I don't know about that 100%, but here's the thing. I probably would just be getting the 8-speed auto here because the 8-speed is so good. But I don't know. The 6-speed was pretty entertaining, but the 8-speed ZF is just so much faster. All right, why is my Mustang blacked out? There we go. Mustang can come with a manual with a turbo 4-cylinder or the beautiful 5-liter V8. Look at this awesome shifter, traditional parking brake here. And yes, long live the pony car and the amazing 6-speed manual that can come in it. Back to Honda here. So we talked about Acura to start. Honda, actually, you can get the Civic with a manual in quite a few different ways. So you can get it with the hatchback, with the sport model, the 2-liter naturally aspirated around 158 horsepower. I have not driven that. I've heard it's really good though. So you can get a 6-speed there. I've also tested the Sport Touring hatchback. That comes with a 6-speed manual. It feels just like the Civic Si, just like more luxury, leather seats, heated ventilated seats, all that fancy stuff on the Grand Touring hatchback manual. Fantastic setup. Really, really enjoyed it. Civic Si, if you can get it at sticker price, hell of a buy. It is so good. It's so fun to throw in the turns. I think it looks awesome. So yeah, 6-speed manual with the 1.5 liter turbo with around 200 horsepower on the Civic Si. And then the 2-liter Civic Type R, just like I talked about the Integra Type S, same sort of vehicle, front-wheel drive, one of the best front-wheel drive cars of all time. Civic Type R 6-speed manual, amazing auto rev matching downshifts with not all of these, but with the Si and the Type R. And yeah, it's anytime I get the Civic Type R, it's like the perfect power for the streets. You can really ring it out, and it's so smooth, so buttery, and handles like a razor blade. Speaking of its competitor, in some ways, this kind of fits between the Type R and the Si in terms of its performance, but it's right up there, I would say, with the Type R in terms of just all-out fun. This is a pre-refresh model. They have upgraded some of the things in the car. It's more rigid, for example, and so 276 horsepower. And the 6-speed manual, first getting it into first is a bit strange. It's easy to kill this car. The clutch is a bit harsh, but when you're flying through the gears, it is so much fun. The auto rev matches. The exhaust is so loud on the Elantra in as well. So Hyundai, don't get rid of this. Don't get rid of the manual on this either. It is amazing. Of course, you can get it in automatic, but that's not why we are here today. Kia. There's only Kia on the list today, I believe. This is the Forte GT. Now, I haven't driven the Forte GT in manual trim. Of course, you can get it with the 201 horsepower, 195 pound-feet torque, the 6-speed manual. Yeah, I think they talked about it right here, right? But I tested the 7-speed dual clutch, and I wasn't impressed with it. I couldn't launch the car for crap, I remember, with the 7-speed dual clutch. So 6-speed manual would be the way to go, absolutely, with the Kia Forte. And this is more of a direct competitor to the Civic Si for comparison. All right, Mazda. Mazda has a couple vehicles with a manual transmission. I wish they had more because Mazda manuals are pretty darn good. Man, look at Mazda. I've talked a lot about Mazda. Check out my recent videos, but even the Mazda 3, it's getting old, but look how good it still looks in motion. Mazda kind of bordering into that premium luxury tier. The Mazda 3, I believe it's on one of the sport, I think it's the hatchback model, and it is not, unfortunately, available on the all-wheel drive turbo model. I wish we had a manual in the all-wheel drive turbo. We have to go build off the hatchback. I had the sedan pulled up. But yeah, this is where you can get the 2.5 liter with 191 horsepower with the manual transmission. Here it is. It's on the S Premium model. This is the only trim level now that you can get the 6-speed manual on the Mazda 3. It's kind of surprising, but it comes with the Bose. They know that this is more of a direct competitor to that sport touring Honda Civic. with that amazing turbocharged 1.5 liter, but this is naturally aspirated, and it is front wheel drive. It would have been cool if Mazda gave it the all-wheel drive setup here, but yes, it leaves me wanting more from Mazda, but at least they still have it. At least they still have it there. And of course, one of my favorite vehicles of all time, my beloved MX-5 Miata. I miss my NA Miata. The new one is pretty much better in every way. And yes, of course, you can still get it with a 6-speed manual. I just wish they included auto rev matching downshifts on it to make it even more fun and just more perfect, because MX-5 is so perfect for what it is. But that would really just set it over the top. Even though they just updated for the 2020, was it the 2025 ND3 Miata? We got some new styling updates and whatnot, but unfortunately they didn't add rev matching 6-speed. But the 6-speed here has so much character, so much fun, and smooth and predictable. All right, so Mini still offers some manual transmissions here on the hardtop, as well as the convertible 2-door. The Clubman, I believe, also offers it here on the Cooper S model, but that might not be the case anymore because I tried to build it and I couldn't find a manual transmission option. Doesn't mean it's not available. I just couldn't figure out how to equip it with one. Nissan Versa, check this out, are only 5-speed on the list. There was another 5-speed on the list that, I think maybe it was the Impreza, but the Impreza got I think it's CVT only now, if I remember right, but I could be wrong on that too. But anyways, the Versa S, only 5-speed on the list today with the 1.6 liter, starts at under $17,000. Long live, cheap, affordable Econo boxes with a manual transmission. I'd pick it over the CVT just for a little bit of engagement, but the Versa is a great car for the price, and we're going to keep moving. Nissan Z, 6-speed manual here. Everyone was super excited about the Z. It is very hard to get. Nissan barely sold any of these. Same thing with Toyota and the Supra in 2023. Hardly any of them are sold. It is fun with a manual. It is a rough manual transmission. It feels really old. It feels a bit agricultural-like, a bit tractor-like. It's not refined whatsoever. It does have auto rev matching downshifts, which is they're pretty fun, but I just wish it was more refined, like a Honda gearbox or a Tremec gearbox. But we're going to keep moving. The Nissan Z doesn't get it in the Nismo variant, only the 9-speed, which is fine because the 6-speed manual is actually not very good in it. Gosh, the vehicle on this list that gets my juices flowing, I have actually never driven a Cayman or a Boxster. Maybe that will change. I don't know if there's not even a Porsche press fleet here in Florida, which their headquarters is here in Florida. It just doesn't make any sense. Anyways, this car is like the ultimate Miata, right? The Boxster and the Cayman. You can get a manual on all these different powertrain and trim levels with the 6-cylinder GTS 4.0, with the Cayman S. See, look, the Cayman S is really maybe the bargain of the bunch. Gosh, I would take any of them. I don't care really. They're just so gorgeous. That mid-engine Porsche, unbelievable. 0 to 60 under 5 seconds for all of them, and it really doesn't get that much faster. All the way down to like 4.4 and maybe 4.3. So your performance kind of falls off with the 4.0 when you get that 6-cylinder. I would assume the weight goes up a little bit. I'm sure the handling characteristics is better here, and the top speed is higher. But who's going to be doing 182 to 177 miles per hour in your Boxster Cayman? So yeah, oh my gosh, even that pink color looks amazing. So yeah, this vehicle is like the ultimate Miata. I am dying to drive one. I'm sure it would make me grin ear to ear. And of course, I'd be getting the Boxster where I live. And it hasn't been sunny this time of year for Florida, but typically it's really sunny here in Florida to be perfect for the Boxster S. The 911, the big brother to the Cayman and the Boxster, the 718, big brother to the 718, the 911. All of these, what you see on the screen, can be equipped with the manual. I have manual clicked right here. So GTS, the Targa, the convertibles, the cabriolets, the Carreras, the Carrera T. I actually drove this one when I was in California. It was, of course, fantastic. It was amazing. And that's the base model. It was actually the same color, the same green color. So I was driving with Sofian from Redline Reviews, and I got to sample this, and it was a lot of fun. Yeah, 7-speed manual here. I believe the only 7-speed manual on the list today. Moving on, Subaru BRZ, 6-speed manual with a 2.4 boxer engine, around 228 horsepower. There it is right there. One of the best buys on the list today. Just pure fun sports car. Can't say enough about the rear-wheel drive coupe from Subaru and Toyota. You were talking about the Impreza. I don't think the Impreza gets the manual anymore. WRX is a hot bargain. You can find these with a 2.4 turbo, 271 horsepower, 6-speed manual. It's very smooth. It also, like, what was I talking about, the Kia Forte earlier in this video? Even though it's all-wheel drive, it does not like to launch, and that's surprising because of its all-wheel drive system. So if I were to test this again, instead of just dumping the clutch, I would work on feathering the clutch and the gas a little bit better to get a more smooth launch, and I think that would probably help it out. But there's no auto rev matching downshift, so maybe I'm making too big of a deal of that in this video. It just makes me happy, so it's just a personal preference. But not having that here when it's competition from the Honda lineup, for example, does get that, just kind of leaves me wanting more here. It's a great powertrain. It's just not the most efficient. I think I was getting maybe mid-20s, where like a Honda Civic Si, even though it's not is quite as fast as this, it gets 40 miles per gallon. So anyways, all-wheel drive here is a big draw to the WRX, and you can get it for $30,000. So it's still a great buy. It's a really good car, and the looks are growing on me, especially if you can get it in black or dark gray. So anyways, GR Corolla, I've only driven it once, and it was amazing. It was very fantastic. I was stuck in LA traffic. It was close to where Legoland is. So you guys tell me where that is. That tells you how little I know about Southern California. I don't get to explore it much, but I get to sample the beauty of it when I get to drive these cars. Anyways, yeah, the GR Corolla 6-speed manual, with a 1.6 3-cylinder turbo, 300 horsepower. This thing was an absolute hoot to drive. I think they're becoming more and more easy to get. The initial buyers have got them already, and I'm hearing more stories of people getting these at MSRP. Ooh, and now you can get in the blue flame for 2024. But good luck getting it in that color. Next car on the list from Toyota, the GR86, the brother to the BRZ. It just looks better than the BRZ in my opinion. Keep on moving. The GR Supra. We talked about the brothers to this in the list today, which would be from the BMW lineup. This is built in Austria alongside of the Z4, which I just reviewed. The Z4 was amazing, the M40i. It looks better than the Supra, and the top goes down on it. I loved it. I love the inline 6 on it. You cannot get the manual, unfortunately. Yeah, this is kind of misleading here because it kind of looks like the manual comes with the 2-liter as an option, but it only comes with the 3-liter as an option. I would love for the Supra to have the 2-liter with a manual, but unfortunately that is not the case. So anyways, Supra manual is fantastic. I had it for a week during my birthday last year, so almost an entire year ago I drove the Supra manual. It's really, really good, really smooth, and so powerful. Golf GTI, I haven't driven the GTI in a manual. I drove it with the dual clutch, and it was pretty good. I just don't like the the touchscreen setup and the touch capacitive climate controls in here, but it was a really good car. I love the looks of it over even like the Civic Si. The Golf, wait, this is not my Golf R. Golf R was supposed to be on this page, yes, with the all-wheel drive around 300 horsepower. Moving on, also from Volkswagen, the Jetta. My friend Charlie at Daily Motor reviewed, I think it was this base S, which comes with a manual transmission. I don't remember if it's a 5 or 6-speed, but it's with the small turbocharged 4-cylinder, and it was getting like 40 plus miles per gallon. Insanely efficient on the Volkswagens. And when I reviewed the Taos, I was getting like 36 miles per gallon in the automatic. But you can get the manual in the S as well as the Sport. I also reviewed the GLI maybe a couple of years ago at this point. The gears were really spaced out, and the shifter was a bit loose and floppy, but it's still a manual, and it was still fun to drive. They narrowed it down to just the Autobahn, I thought, a year or so ago, but now it looks like you can also get this anniversary edition for a little bit less money, so that'd probably be the way to go for most people. Which vehicles on the list today do you want in a manual transmission? Are you over manual transmissions, or do you not know how to drive one? Do you want to learn how to drive one? Manuals are the most fun you can probably have in a car. It's the most engaging. It's not the fastest, but that's not the point. It's about being one with the machine, extracting the performance how you want to do it instead of the logic of a transmission, trying to figure it out for you. Now, automatic transmissions have gotten so good and so efficient that manuals don't make sense from a numbers perspective anymore, but manual transmissions make sense from a heartstrings perspective. So let me know which car on the list, coupe, sedan, convertible, which on the list that you enjoyed the most. And I didn't talk about the Broncos or the Wranglers or the new Tacoma, for example, that have the manual. Those aren't really cars. So I'll see you guys in the comments down below talking about your manual transmission cars and your experiences with them. Long live the manual. And if you don't want a car with a manual, there's always endless amounts of motorcycles with the manual, and that's something I'll be doing more in 2024, is getting my hands on some motorcycles and sharing my riding experience and covering topics from the two-wheeled world as well. So thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Long live the manual transmission, save the manuals, and I'll catch you in the next video. Happy 2024. Peace.